Hi everyone, this is Chavi, your podcaster of the day, and I welcome you all to the amazing podcast of today's of Azure Developer Community. Today we have an amazing guest with us. We have Paddy. He is currently the CEO and co-founder of Multipl, and at the same note, he is a 3x entrepreneur. So with that note, I would be very happy to welcome Paddy to our amazing today's podcast and to discuss more about Multipl and on some amazing domains. Hi Paddy, how are you?
Hey Chavi, I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. How are you doing?
I'm also doing great. I'm really happy to see you today in our today's podcast, and I'm pretty much sure this podcast is gonna be very much amazing. So, with that note, first of all, I wanted to understand, as I mentioned in the starting, that you are a 3x entrepreneur. So, with that note, how you started your entrepreneur journey, and how is it going in the present time?
I grew up in a typical middle class Indian family, right? So you always had these aspirations of, whether it is about flying to different countries or having some cars. So those were like really the aspirational stuff of a typical Indian middle class guy. And one of the things that I really thought as a breakout option for you to be super successful was to become an entrepreneur. So I was always fascinated by the idea of starting up, and that I thought was the biggest opportunity or the option for you to break out of the middle class, the standard that we were actually living, and to break out. So that was the initial inspiration, but I would not say that is something that I would want to do it today as a reason. Things have changed significantly. I would not keep that as the reason, but that's how I always had that in the back of my mind. But when I did my finished my masters from IIIT Bangalore, and I was working in EMC for a good 3 years. I had this opportunity to start up. I was working on areas which were really unique at that point in time. Things were actually happening in the tech space, in cloud computing as well. So I got really interested in that very early, and that gave me an opportunity to start something in the cloud space back in 2008. And that's how the journey started for me, becoming an entrepreneur from working in a company. And I've been fortunate to continue that journey, and it's something that I don't intend to go back to my good old days, but this is something that I'm really enjoying.
That's actually amazing to hear. And obviously, when it comes to that, okay, you don't have a background, but you are giving whole your time by your own, investing your time, and obviously trusting yourself, it's the best thing. So, with that note, also, when I just had a go through to Multipl, so I got to know that there's a concept of save now and pay later. So, what's this concept and how it actually works?
So, very interesting in terms of how you put it. The way when we wanted to build something, when we started Multipl, me and my co-founders, we wanted to build something in the personal finance space, help people manage their money better. So that's where our initial thought process was. And when we started talking to a lot of users, we realized a few things rather. First was our spending share of the wallet is way higher than what we are saving. So we spend a lot more than what we save or invest. Right. So that is something that we noticed. And the way we were spending, basically, we were either spending from our bank savings if we have the money, or we were spending from credit if we don't have the money. We take credit and buy stuff or spend on things. Right. So this was the behavior practically everyone that we were actually talking to. And that's where we found an opportunity where we could actually build a product which is better than both these options, which will help people get more money on their side. So the hard-earned money that the users have, we are actually we actually thought it can be put to better use. And that is sort of the genesis of Multipl, in terms of save now and pay later, or save now and buy later. So the idea is you start saving for your future purchase, future spends, predictable spends, things like anniversary gifting, things like vacation travel, international vacation travel, or paying for your car insurance premium, or things like birthday gifting, buying a new gadget. Many of these things are actually plannable or predictable. We know that we'll have these spends coming in the near future. So what we decided was to build a product where people can actually start saving for these predictable spends early on, and they generate returns from the market, and they also get benefit from the brand that we partner with. So what we've done with the whole concept is, today if you look at any BNPL system, buy now pay later, or any other credit based systems, the brands actually offer something called a subvention to these lenders. So subvention is basically a discount that the lenders get. While you pay your 100 rupees, the lenders get to pay the brand 95 rupees. So they get to keep the 5 rupees spread. So what we said was, if somebody is going to start saving for this spend, let's get that 5 rupees and give it back to the consumer. So you end up paying 95 rupees for your purchase if you are able to plan for it early on. And not just that, because of our ability to invest this money, we are a SEBI registered investment advisors. So we look at your risk profile, we look at the current market conditions, and we invest your money in your name directly in curated market instruments. So you generate some returns from the market. So eventually you end up paying only 90 rupees for what somebody else is going to spend 100 rupees, right? So that is the benefit of this system, where it is from a pure economic standpoint, this beats every other system that is out there. This is definitely brings more money on the table for you and I as users. So that's the idea of save now, pay later, or we also call it save now, pay lesser, because this is a system which helps you pay less on your spends.
It's actually nice to hear that, and also the example that you just shared about, okay, paying 90 and like saving that 10 rupees, it's a nice one. So with that note, and also again, like I was again going through that, and why it's multiple, like what's the story behind? Because I know one thing, that every company, every startup name has its own story, okay, behind story. So what's the like story behind Multipl? It would be really great if you could share something with us.
Sure, Chavi. Multipl, we wanted a name which is short, and we also wanted a name which connects with what we are building. In the specifically, if you look at the finance or personal finance space, we always talk about multiplying wealth, right, in the long term. So wealth has this association of multiplying, and that is where we felt, and we are in the space where we are helping people make more out of their money, and that is where we thought this is a name that resonates with what we are trying to build here, Multipl. And again, we wanted it to be short, we wanted it to be modern, so we removed the E and made it Multipl without the E. And there is also another angle. Multipl is something, I mean, I have a bit of fascination for bringing some mathematical terms in all the startups that I did, but Multipl also has that angle to it. Yeah, so those are some of the aspects to the name. And today our logo symbolizes, it's an asterisk if you look at it, but it's also represents more like a wheel or a forward motion, where people actually, how you move forward. So that is how we are actually representing it.
It's actually nice, and also that's pretty much true. And somehow the concept that you are currently having of save now, pay later, also like uh, like comes inclined so much with the name of Multipl. So it's actually a pretty much good name that you have. So with that note, also when it comes to startup, there's one thing that comes as challenges, the most important, and the thing that comes to every time with every entrepreneur, but the most difficult, and something that gives you experiences as well. So what are challenges that you face with Multipl, and is there any challenges that currently you are facing, and how you're coping with them?
Sure, definitely. So when we started Multipl, so this is a category creating product. It's not a replica of something which is successful in the US or China or elsewhere, where we are creating an Indian version of it, right? So this is like 100% unique. We started this category globally, and any category creating product has its own set of challenges, because you are going against the tide. It is something that is you're trying to establish a new norm, right? So that requires a bit of education. It requires a bit of a lot of education about what we are trying to build. It requires a lot of patience as well, because it doesn't happen overnight. You think of something, people don't accept it, because we are talking of save now, buy later. The questions will be like, oh, credit is available so easily, why should I not buy it now? And that's where we are actually saying this is a better system, because you would pay lesser. It's not just about buying later, but it's also about paying lesser. Do you want to pay 100 today or 90 later? But it's not just that, but it's also about predictable spends. Things like, if this 100, if you had planned 6 months earlier, you could actually be spending only 90 on it. So that's where we are actually focusing on predictable spends. So it's like I said, it's a category that we are creating. So it comes with a lot of challenges around educating people about the category, educating the partners, educating investors that this is a category that really has potential, that has the legs. So it took us a lot of time and energy to establish this. But having said that, today a lot of companies are trying to replicate what Multipl is doing in India and elsewhere. But we made it easier for them, in terms of doing the category creation exercise, doing the education exercise. So now people can actually don't have to go through that, the issues of educating users, because that's a big challenge. And it's about convincing people, not just by saying, hey, we have this product, but we have to demonstrate the value. We have to demonstrate that it really works. Right, so we'll have to go through that cycle with users, giving them the value, giving them the proof of the outcome. So it takes time for us to do this. Now that we've done it, it is validated. This is a space that is now recognized, not just in India but globally. And we are proud to say that we created this category out of India. But anyone who's following suit, they have one less thing to worry about educating people around this space. Yeah, but that's been our biggest challenge, and that has its rewards, right? When you actually take that, we have a deeper insight into users, deeper insight into what people think, what are their reservations or concerns. So we handle them, and that's how we are able to put out a better product today.
It's actually true. And also, as you mentioned right now, that you're not just focusing on India and you are the only person who is doing it globally. So, have you expanded outside India right now, or you are having some future plans regarding it?
Yeah, no, right now India itself is a really big market, and
Exactly.
globally, if you look at it, India is a very attractive market. We've been doing really well compared to a lot of other growing economies. So India is where our focus is. What I meant by this is something that we are creating out of India as a concept, as a model. This is something that we created out of India. It's just like how UPI or Aadhaar got created out of India. This is a product that is coming out of India, and as a concept, it is being adopted in different countries also by other players. But we are the truly category creators in this space, and today we are focusing on India. But yeah, maybe we'll see how things pan out, and definitely this has potential in other geographies as well.
So, means we can surely be seeing something amazing globally as well, super soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's amazing to hear. So, as you just mentioned about the concept regarding that, like how Multipl is creating a debt-free India by challenging the customer behavior from like BSNL to SBNL. So, sorry, SNBL. So, in that case, like with that concept, how is it working? Because again, when I was just having a walkthrough towards the company and everything, I was not able to understand that point. So, how is it
Yeah.
actually doing?
Yeah, so our this is a positive product. End of the day, right? We are asking people to be debt free, but it is not a preachy product. We are not coming and saying, hey, don't spend. You just have to save. Saving is all you have to do. You should not be spending. So we are not a preachy product. That's where our tagline says, enjoy life debt free. So we want people to actually have a good life, but do it smartly, do it judiciously, do it in a manner that actually helps them. So that's our whole idea. So that is where the debt free angle comes in. So what we are actually seeing in terms of user behavior also, I've had conversations with our users who are who created goals on Multipl for some of their spends using the SNBL idea, right, where they are saving now and they are going to buy later. And they are actually currently using BNPL products. They are actually using certain things on BNPL. Maybe they didn't save on Multipl for iPhone 14 because if you had saved, you would have got almost like 5 or 10% benefit on Multipl. But if you have not done and you really want that iPhone, maybe you take credit and buy that. And if you don't have the money, but you could still save for your travel goal on Multipl. You could still stay for your car insurance premium on Multipl. Right? So we are seeing a behavior where even BNPL users are actually taking to the Multipl idea for some of their goals. So that's one thing that we are seeing. But there are also people who don't want credit, who don't like to be in debt, and for them Multipl is very relatable, highly relatable. In the sense, there are like many of us who use credit card. We are not revolvers. We are just transactors. We just pay the we just pay the complete outstanding bill amount on credit cards also. So for them, this is actually a valuable product because they can totally relate to it. But even for those who are on credit, like I said, we are actually seeing them use Multipl for some of their predictable spends. And eventually, this is a positive product. It builds a positive behavior. You will not have buyer's remorse. You don't end up buying products that you feel guilty about buying, because here you are planning and saving for it. So you are going to be a lot more connected with the purchase. You are looking forward to that purchase. You're not going to feel bad about it. So there are like intrinsic other benefits as well through this model for users. And fundamentally, like I said, this is a positive product. It's a habit which helps people. It's not something that is going to push you into debt. It's not something that's going to play on your psychology of instant gratification or other things. It's actually going to help you get better financially.
That's nice to hear. And so, before concluding the podcast, as again, as I mentioned in the starting, that you are the 3x entrepreneur. So, in that case, what are the three learnings that you have received from these three startups yet? It would be really great to know, because ultimately, the learnings that you receive from one startup is different. But when it comes to three startups, it's a very different sort of learning that you receive. So it would be really great if you could just share some learnings with our listeners.
Yeah, from a purely entrepreneurial perspective, definitely being an optimist is something that is very important. That's something that I've learned. I've always been called myself as an eternal optimist. So that definitely helps as an entrepreneur, because you're going to go through ups and downs. So you need to have the optimism to come out and face the challenges. So that's one big takeaway that I would say. Something that I've learned, being an optimist really helps. You should also be something around team is very important, team building. And because it's not a it is a lonely journey in many ways, but it has to be, when you win as a team. You don't win individually. So you need the right set of people to work with you when you're building product, when you're building a business. So it is very important that you have the right set of people with you. So team is something that is super critical. That's another important learning. Like getting the right team definitely helped me in my past journeys. It is helping me in Multipl also, having the right set of people. So it's very important. And another thing is around building something unique. It always gives you that reward. Be it my previous startup or be it in Multipl, I've seen that if you are building something that is truly unique, it will have its reward. You get the benefit of creating a category. You're actually creating a new space. So it's sort of a blue ocean that you are creating. So you will have more sort of you have more chance to make some mistakes and get better when you're actually doing it as a blue ocean, creating a blue ocean. So those are some of the things that I would say as the learnings. There are a lot more, but yeah, if three that came to my mind, top of my mind recall.
Thanks a lot. And also, I would say one thing to all the listeners, as he said, that yes, it's difficult, to create something new and start with something new, but it's always amazing to do something in the blue ocean. So yeah, with that note, I would like to thank Paddy again for joining in, and it was really great having you today. And we got to know a lot about you and also the entrepreneur journey. So thanks a lot for joining in, and looking forward to some amazing stuff by Multipl super soon in future.
Thanks a lot, Chavi. Thanks a lot. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Bye.
Thank you so much.